So we recently had family visiting, and I wanted to come on and speak to you about autistic overwhelm and just being overwhelmed and how socialising can completely burn you out. So we had family visiting, like I said, and they've been gone for 8 days now, and I am still recovering. I am still exhausted. I'm so tired. Haven't done anything, haven't done any of my normal exercises. I haven't been recording YouTube videos. I just been shattered, absolutely shattered. Can't get any motivation to do anything. And that is because I spent 6 days socialising. And I want to say, first off, this is no reflection to my family members. I love them and it was a joy to see them, and there's no reflection at all on them. But it is overwhelming. The anxiety before they arrive, of course, of the routine and everything changing was one thing. So we had all the build up to that the week before, and then the 6 days that they were actually here. We were out every day doing different things, showing them around the area, that kind of thing, as you do. Haven't seen these family members for 5 years either, so it's a long time ago. And yes, just the talking is difficult, and apologies, as I said, I'm really tired, so apologise if I don't make full sense here, but I'm sure if you're autistic you can understand that the constant going out every day, the leaving your routine, leaving your safe space, and also the constant need to talk every day. So make small talk every day, give information about where you're going and facts and stuff about where you're going, and just the constant need to also justify yourself. I had to constantly justify why myself and my family, because we're all autistic, don't like doing certain things, or why we do like doing certain things, or why we find certain things challenging. And it was just utterly exhausting. And also trying to explain to someone who hasn't seen you for 5 years why you are so different now to maybe you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is quite challenging. I had to explain autism, I had to explain masking, I had to explain why everything, I might seem very different now, having sort of dropped the mask and acting more my normal self. It's very tiring having to explain yourself and justify yourself all the time, and especially when people don't fully understand and they come back and they say, oh yeah, but everyone does this and everyone likes this and everyone doesn't like this, but this is great. And you're thinking, yeah, but it's not great and I don't like it. It is difficult. And also it got to the point where my son, who's 10 and a half, he got so overwhelmed and upset and anxious that he developed this odd voice. I think it was a case of that he didn't want to speak anymore, so when he did speak he came out with this really strange nasally voice, and bless him, I knew he didn't have a sore throat. He vomited a few times, saying he had a sore throat, and I knew it wasn't a sore throat as in it wasn't red, there was no infection there, he had no other symptoms, and I knew he didn't have a sore throat. And he'd vomited a couple of times, and then he developed this strange voice, and the voice and everything came out because he was so stressed and overwhelmed. And we had sort of like two days or so of him being able to either not speak properly or speak with this really strange voice, which then made things more difficult because one, I had to try and explain why he was speaking like this to people who obviously don't really understand autism, and then not only that, I then had to be doubly translate what he was saying. So I had to listen because he was speaking so quietly and strangely. I had to listen to what he was saying super well, and then translate that to the other people. So it was absolutely exhausting, and there were times where my son wouldn't just wouldn't come out. He was in absolute bits. So there were the odd bits here and there that we had to leave him at home, not for long, but just so he could have a bit of space and time to try and get his head together, because it's very difficult when he's there saying, you know, Mummy, I'm so tired, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't want to talk, I don't want to go out, I don't want to see anyone, and you're trying to explain to him that these people love him and they've come to see him and they haven't seen him for 5 years and they're only here for a short period of time, and you know, you may not want to come out and I may not want to go out either, but we've got to do our best to go out. Yeah, it was really really challenging, and I don't think I can do it again. I think 6 days was just too much. And again, it's no reflection on my family members at all, but I don't think they realise just how much it takes out of us, even though we try and explain it. I don't think people who don't have autism, they don't realise just how much just making the small talk, just going for a meal can be exhausting, because you're constantly having to make the conversation. I mean, there will be times when my husband and I will be having dinner, whether it be in a restaurant or at home, and we just won't talk because we're both just tired and we're comfortable with the silence. But then when you're with people, it seems really rude if you do that. So it's really quite challenging, and I'm absolutely shattered. Like I said, they've been gone longer than they were actually here now, but I just, last week was just sort of good for nothing really, and it's a shame because before they came, before, you know, started getting the anxiety about them coming, I was in a good place and exercising regularly and just like everything was good. But I've got to slowly try and get back to that, because it's totally knocked me sideways. I feel absolutely exhausted. So if you are going to socialise or see an autistic person, please be aware that, you know, they may not, although they may come across as, you know, happy and joyful and, you know, easy making the small talk, be aware that it's not necessarily easy for them to do so. It may just be a front, a mask, whatever you want to call it, that they're putting on to get through that situation. And yes, they love you, and yes, they enjoy your company, but they also may need some time off, you know, a few hours to themselves, or a day off, or a morning off, or something, if you're going to see them in a, you know, a sort of chunk of time. Because you're not going to get the best of them. And by the end of the visit, I certainly wasn't giving my best. I was, you know, agitated and tired and just wanting to be on my own, really, if I'm honest. So you're not going to get the best of someone if you're just pushing them. So, and please try and understand, because having to justify yourself all the time, even to, you know, relatively non-judgmental people, it's so exhausting. And anyway, I'm going to end the video there because I'm so tired and I feel like I'm not making any sense. But please let me know if you can relate to this, and having family members or friends or whatever, maybe like a work conference. I mean, that must be absolutely exhausting, having to do that. How you cope with these things, and then how long it takes you to recover afterwards. And do you constantly find yourself having to sort of talk about, justify why you find things challenging, or do you just shove it all down and deal with it and then have a complete meltdown later on? Let me know. I'd be really interested. Thanks for watching, guys.